Hello and welcome to Diabetes Connections in the News. I'm Stacey Sims, and in these shorter episodes, we talk about the top diabetes stories and headlines happening now. Our top story this week, big recall from Abbott about some Freestyle Libres. The FDA has issued an alert that some of these CGMs are providing users with incorrect glucose readings, an error that has been linked with the deaths of at least 7 people and more than 700 serious injuries worldwide. Abbott says about 3 million Freestyle Libre 3 and Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensors are affected, but no other Libre products. You can check online. We have the link in the show notes to find out if your sensor is affected and to get a replacement for free. The FDA has also published specific information about the affected products in its alert. They say they consider this to be a, quote, potentially high-risk issue and will continue to update the website as information becomes available. Please verify if your sensor is impacted, discontinue use immediately, get rid of it, and call them for a replacement. Again, more information and the whole list of affected sensors are in the show notes over at diabetes-connections.com. Omnipod 5 is getting some enhancements. Omnipod 6 is announced. The FDA cleared updates, including a lower 100 target glucose option and what they call a more seamless automated experience. Insulet says this is the most significant algorithm advancement for Omnipod 5 since it launched in 2022. Omnipod 5 now features 6 settings between 100 and 150 in increments of 10, and the company says this flexibility allows healthcare providers to tailor insulin delivery more precisely. They say the updates will also help you stay in automated mode with fewer interruptions. They plan to launch these updates in the first half of 2026. They also announced plans for Omnipod 6 without a lot of detail at the company's Investor Day event in November, and they talked about a fully closed-loop pump for the type 2 population. Dexcom's 15-day CGM is out. It launched on December 1st. It's actually a 15.5-day CGM, which they say makes it the longest-lasting CGM system. It launched on December 1st for durable medical equipment providers. They're going to have a full retail launch, they say, in the coming weeks. So if you get your Dexcom at the pharmacy, it's not there yet. They also say that the 15-day will be covered for Medicare beneficiaries. The FDA also cleared Dexcom's Smart Basal. The company says this is the first and only CGM-integrated basal insulin dosing optimizer designed for adults 18 and over with type 2 diabetes using long-acting insulin. So it uses the Dexcom G7 sensor data and logged doses to calculate personalized daily recommendations to guide users towards a more effective long-acting insulin dose. We've got an interview coming up with Dexcom. We're going to talk about all this stuff. And by the way, give me your questions. You can always email me or chime into the Facebook group. At launch, the Dexcom G7 15-day is going to connect with the iLet Bionic Pancreas and with the Omnipod 5. They say, of course, they're working with everybody else that they partner with. And you can stay up to date on how those integrations are going at the link in the show notes. A small study of 10 adults with type 1 tested Tandem's new fully closed-loop Freedom insulin system, and they did it with a diet of heavy carb and fat meals. But with this algorithm, they skipped all meal announcements, and they didn't give any mealtime insulin boluses. It says the system handled almost everything automatically. Researchers said the device stayed in closed-loop mode 97% of the time. While using the Freedom system, people spent about 61% of the day on average in their target range, and that is only slightly higher than the 56% these folks got with their usual pump system at home. But the biggest improvement came overnight. Time in range jumped to 96% compared to just under 70% during their home pump week. These folks spent a week at home. These researchers say the fully automated Tandem system is safe and effective, even with unannounced high-impact meals. Novo Nordisk reporting promising mid-stage results for its drug amycretin in diabetes patients. Amycretin targets both GLP-1 and amylin hormones, and in this study, it helped people with type 2 lose up to 14.5% of their body weight over 36 weeks with weekly injections. The oral version delivered weight loss of up to 10.1%. Eli Lilly has its own amylin-based drug that is advancing to late-stage testing, which their studies show helped patients shed as much as 20% of their weight. U.S. Medicare health plan said this week that newly negotiated prices for 15 of its costliest drugs will save 36% on those medications, or about $8.5 billion in net covered prescription costs. These prices go into effect in 2027, including a monthly price of $274 for semaglutide, which you know is sold as Wegovy for weight loss, and Ozempic for diabetes. The annual price negotiations were established under President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Previously, Medicare was barred by law from negotiating with drug makers. LifeScan announced its Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorg plan received U.S. bankruptcy court approval. LifeScan said it is positioned to emerge from its financial restructuring process by the end of the year. An artificial intelligence-led diabetes prevention program was as effective as a traditional human-led program in achieving recommended goals for weight loss, A1C reduction, and physical activity. This was basically an app that sent you push notifications, provided location and goal-based education with some gamification elements to promote engagement. One example of a push notification that they gave, quote, "Looks like you're at the grocery store, Rita. Want a quick list of high-fiber snacks or smart swaps to stay on track this week?" Approximately 1/3 of the participants in both the AI and human-led groups achieved the primary outcome they were looking for here. These researchers say, very logically, an AI-led approach will not suit everybody. An all-human approach will not suit everybody. Future research should focus on best matching patients to the modalities they prefer. A new study suggests metformin could help people with type 1 reduce the need for insulin. These researchers went into the study looking to improve insulin resistance, which is what happens mostly in people with type 2 who take metformin. But they were surprised to find didn't do that, didn't improve insulin resistance or change blood sugar levels in the people with type 1, but it did reduce the amount of insulin people needed to keep their blood sugar levels stable. And finally, Beyond Type 1 is launching the Beyond Type campaign in India to fight type 1 diabetes stigma there. Nick Jonas is one of the founders of Beyond Type 1, and his wife, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, is his partner in this new offshoot. The press release here says India has more young people living with type 1 than any other nation, yet understanding of the condition remains limited. Beyond Type will highlight inspiring individuals living with type 1, and they're partnering with local organizations to improve awareness, medical support, and community networks. And that's in the news. If you like what you hear, please share the show. I'm back next week with a long-format interview. We're actually going to be talking more about those Medicare prices and the future of technology with Medicare. There's a lot on the table now. I'm talking to the folks at DPAC about how you can get involved, what you really can do to affect change in Washington. And we'll be following up about a lot of the technology news that you heard this week. Dexcom very soon, Tandem and Omnipod early in the new year. I'm Stacey Sims. I'll see you back here soon. Until then, be kind to yourself.
Diabetes Connections is a production of Stacey Sims Media. All rights reserved, all wrongs avenged.